Creative Magic Club. What's up? This is Sarah Mack and welcome to Creative Magic Club. Together, we'll discover inspirational stories of creative entrepreneurs living out their dreams, doing the work they are most passionate about, and building wealth in magical and fun ways. While building a six-figure income as a writer and coach, helping other women to launch their dream businesses, I've connected with so many incredible people and seen it proven again and again that you can thrive financially doing whatever it is you are passionate about. I'm here to share life-changing strategies for mindset, making money, and reaching more people with your work in a business and life filled with creativity, freedom, and fun. Hi, welcome to this week's episode of Creative Magic Club. Today we're going to dive into a topic that I feel so called to be talking more about because I believe it's so important and affects so many of us. And the focus of this week's episode is going to be around how entrepreneurship provides a lot of support and opportunity on the path for healing CPTSD, which is complex post-traumatic stress disorder. And as somebody who is in the recovery process of CPTSD, I know how many women in my community are experiencing a lot of the same things. And just as humans in general, there's obviously an enormous spectrum on the different types of trauma and the different types of journeys in recovering from and healing from and coping with the effects of trauma. And it's very, very individual and everybody's path is completely unique. And on some level, I feel as humans, we're always healing trauma. To be human is to live a traumatic experience in our development, particularly in our childhood years. And we're always looking to evolve to new and higher levels of freedom, particularly as entrepreneurs. So entrepreneurship really highlights the areas where there are patterns that want to be undone, that want to be released, and that want to be shifted in our emotional being, in our spiritual being, in our physical being, and in our mental patterns as well. And I just have found that entrepreneurship is such a powerful container for discovering those aspects of us that want to shift, and also creating the support and the tools to be able to shift them really powerfully and to navigate them in a really empowering way. And so I'm going to talk about a little bit about my experience and share some insights that I've picked up along the way that I haven't necessarily heard anybody else talking about, and to create some content that I really wish I had discovered earlier on. So as somebody who has been experiencing the recovery process from CPTSD, from a sexual trauma, which, the memories only surfaced for me very recently. And I didn't know that that was the healing process that I was in. What I had identified was a collection of physical and emotional health challenges that didn't make any sense to me, that I didn't have really an understanding of what had caused them, why I was experiencing them, and what the path was to shift them. And so through, several years of asking a lot of questions from a lot of different people and seeking support in many different places, I have pieced together, more of an understanding of what has been going on, which was really rooted in the health crisis and burnout that I experienced, 7 to 8 years ago, which I have now fully recovered from on like an energetic level. And I'm still doing the work to, really get to a place of strength and empowerment and stability on an emotional level. So being an entrepreneur has really given me the freedom to navigate my transformation and my healing in my own way, while simultaneously creating a life and business of my dreams. And I've built my business to 6 figures around offers and services I feel truly aligned with and very much enjoy delivering to clients I very much love to work with. And, going through the path of healing from trauma is enough bullshit and stress as it is. I think that was one of the biggest motivators for me to make the rest of my life as awesome as possible. And the rest of has given me such a low tolerance for things that don't feel good in life and business in general. That has really caused me strategically to really thrive in other areas. And, given me so much strength to be able to support the areas that have been challenging for me. And has caused me to really eliminate a lot of the stresses and activities and relationships that don't feel aligned with the experience of life that I desire to be living on a day-to-day basis. And, and I've really seen how abuse and trauma recovery impact our ability to create consistent sales. And these are patterns that I have seen both in myself and in my clients, because consistency really comes down to emotional management mastery. And these are the skills that, this journey has really taught me, both as an entrepreneur and both in healing the impact of having experienced abuse in my past, which are really learning to listen to myself where I had abandoned myself previously because things that hadn't made sense to me internally weren't reflected back to me in the world that I was living in. And really learning to meet my own needs where they weren't met before, as well as navigating boundaries in my relationships and my business to be able to provide for those needs, and really taking a stand for that. And, in the priorities and the things that I prioritize in my health and well-being and in my business and in my personal life. So I've really been able to honor the different phases of my healing in my body, my emotions, and my mind, as they have often reacted in very disruptive ways that has impacted my ability to show up and execute on my ideas and my priorities, which, in the early days led to a lack of productivity, a lot of frustration, a lack of ability to prioritize, to follow through on the things that I was scheduling for myself, because I didn't have that level of understanding and the tools to be able to manage the very volatile, energetic and emotional and physical symptoms that I had been experiencing. And a lot of my work with clients is around working around the ways that the effects of abuse can impact us, and the challenges that a trauma recovery process can present, and really how it affects us in mood and outlook, energy levels, productivity, overthinking, and our ability to stay present, which obviously comes from dissociation, which is a very common symptom of the trauma recovery process. And obviously that's where we access our power and our insight and our creativity, is in our ability to be present. And, a huge one is confidence, and the confidence to really be able to identify and acknowledge our insights and our ideas, and to believe them and to trust them enough to follow through on them and really execute them and see them through to a result. Focus is a huge one. I went through a phase of thinking that I had ADHD when really it was symptoms of dissociation. And then obviously health habits to, when the body is going through intense processes, health habits become so important, and, need to be committed to at even deeper levels to be able to sustain and follow through on our priorities, despite, all of this extra work essentially taking up our bandwidth. So these are all of the things which essentially make up the requirements of consistency. And when any of these things are out of balance, it really does become more challenging to remain consistent in the actions that produce consistent results. And, I've seen either the money will stay consistent, but health can come out of balance for some people, or health takes the bandwidth that it needs and the money or the productivity or the follow through on responsibilities becomes imbalanced. And so I personally have been able to sustain my business over the past, working as an entrepreneur for the past 7-8 years, through developing very strategic, kind of bare minimum required habits that have allowed me to keep the bare minimum things that can, allow me to continue to grow and build. And then building on that has allowed me to grow and scale and create even more freedom financially, energetically, creatively, as I have built on that over the years. So, I have proven to myself and in the work that I do with clients that there's so much we can do, even when we're in a process that just is a lot of it outside of our control, right? Because of something that happened in the past that's impacted our body, our nervous system, and our patterns and our reactions and our responses that we're experiencing on a physical level. So, the biggest one for me that I will bash on about all day, every day, to anyone who will listen, is the importance and the power of committed daily movement. And just check in with yourself right now as you're listening to this. How consistent are you with daily movement? And be honest. Be honest. Like, are you consistent daily? Are you consistent most days? Or are you doing it but not really? Is it not quite enough? Because when it's enough when you actually feel good most days. Because when the movement that you have spent time investing in leads you to feel better consistently each day because you did it. That's when you know that it's enough. And, it's all good to start where you're at and to build up slowly. But I challenge you and I invite you to move more and more strategically, right? It's not about exerting. It's not about pushing. I never push myself. It's about finding what works for you and whatever phase you're in and being really consistent with it and doing more in terms of like minutes. I've definitely found the more minutes I commit to daily, and I've definitely, I found a sweet spot at 30 minutes, which whatever I'm doing, whether it's a walk, but it's a brisk walk, or whether it's a yoga or whether it's a workout video. I love the class, by the way, which is specifically designed to release the impacts of trauma from the body. But at least a minimum of 30 minutes of kind of vigorous. Sometimes I will just do a yin yoga when I need that, when I feel super tired, but actually getting your heart rate up a little bit and consistently, keeping it up. Just play with that for yourself and notice the difference. Okay. Lecture about movement over. That's the number one most important, most powerful thing that I have found, tool that I have found to consistently increase my energy levels, focus, productivity, mood, literally all the things that we've been talking about. The more consistent I've been with my movement, the more consistent I am with my ability to follow through, the more consistent I am with my results, the more consistent I am with the amount, the amounts of money that I'm bringing in. More movement, more money. I've always said it works. It works. It works. It works. The next one is diet. That's just a whole thing. It's a whole thing. I've spent many, many hours learning about diet, implementing new specific strategic ways of eating, specific ingredients, specific nutrients, specific supplements. This has completely transformed my health and my well-being and my mood and my happiness and my capacity to execute on the things that make me happy and bring me joy and money and all of the things. Diet, super, super, super important to be educating ourselves around and actually committing to the habits that, we see clear results around, that make us feel better, that make us feel like we are more of ourselves and that we have more power to be more of who we are. Sleep is the other big one. And, and I know how challenging all of these things can be, but it's really, for me, it has been around just ditching any and all excuses around not prioritizing these things and not committing to these things that has allowed me to reach the results that I have been excited to and have desired to reach in my life and in my business. And then the other huge one that was a big turning point for me was really committing to the daily mindset work and, rewriting the stories that we have internalized from whatever bullshit that we've experienced, whatever challenges we've overcome or have struggled to understand or make sense of. Really doing the mindset work to look at actually what's going on, what have we internalized, what are the programs that we're running on, and to take our power back and strategically choose programs, thoughts, and focus that are moving us to where we want to go. Huge. Another big one is building a network of supportive people and communities as an ongoing presence in daily life. So, acknowledging that where that has maybe been an absence for you, and recognizing that we get to, build our own families wherever we are. I've been an immigrant for more than a decade and have proven that to myself. I've lived in and traveled to more than 16 different countries in the past 6-7 years. And I have proven that to myself, largely through building online communities that I get to take with me wherever I go. And, also being open to finding the people, and the right people always show up at the right time when you're open to that and, you're willing to allow them in. So really prioritizing that and being an active participant in the creator of support, networks of support for yourself every given day makes all the difference to emotional and spiritual well-being and mental well-being. And using tools to really stay focused and channel whatever energy and bandwidth you do have from day to day into clear strategic priorities that are actually moving you to where you want to be. We all have 24 hours in a day. Everybody's experience of their 24 hours is different. We all have different levels of resources, different levels of capability from day to day. So, but we all get the choice as to what we prioritize, and really being empowered around prioritizing the things that we, have identified clearly are moving us towards a vision of life that is exciting, that's in alignment with our desire. Taking one step a day, day after day after day, makes an enormous difference. You do not have to be perfect. Life gets to happen. We get to be human, and we can still thrive in spite of shit hitting the fan left, right, and center a lot of the time. So, and I think we've all seen that in the past couple of years. Like, we're still standing despite all of the crazy things that life has brought our way. And we are so much stronger and so much more powerful than so often we realize or give ourselves credit for. And I want to share this message because I think it's really important that I have had some of the highest income months for me have been simultaneous with some of the most challenging parts in my healing journey, where I've gone really deep, where I've unearthed very painful things that have, triggered me and created very real physiological responses in my body that have been very challenging for me to navigate. But it doesn't mean that I can't also create the things that I desire to create. It doesn't mean that I can't hit my goals. There have been many instances where I haven't hit my goals. And, what I've been through definitely has sidelined me and created challenges and distracted me and prevented a reason for me not to hit my goals. But that's a mindset that I shifted and really have been deeply embodying, that just because you feel like your world might be falling apart, or you're falling apart, or you're going through a particularly challenging breakthrough via a big breakdown, know that, in allowing yourself to go there, allowing yourself to really be present with your experience actually opens you up to greater levels of insight and greater capacity to be able to receive the things that you have chosen to create and are calling in and are stepping into in your life and business. So if that hasn't been true for you in the past, let that hit. This is my gift to you, the belief and the story that no matter what you're going through, no matter how you feel, no matter how challenged or triggered or sick or taken down you might be in this very moment, you can still receive everything that you desire today. It's still possible for you to receive all the good things that you desire in life. You are good enough. You can receive it exactly as you are. And it totally is within the realm of possibility. So believe that and open yourself up to that, and choose to stop using things not going perfectly as a reason for you not being able to receive the things that you desire and to be able to hit your goals. So it's really about detaching from the narrative that if we are not doing or executing on a plan, the step-by-step plan that we decided we needed to do in order to reach our goal, then we're not worthy and deserving of receiving the results. And actually, the most powerful thing to focus on is momentum. And, in making those daily commitments, in embodying those habits, giving yourself permission to fail forward in the process, but keep showing up for it, that creates so much momentum that sometimes we don't see the results of that immediately. But when you look back on that timeline of that period where you really fully showed up for those habits and those commitments, you can see how much it completely has transformed your life and your well-being and your capacity and everything that you've created. So it's really all about momentum. We get to have down days, we get to have down weeks, we get to have down months. But the momentum that we create by continually showing up to the best of our ability in any given moment, when we zoom out, it makes all the difference. And it means that everything and anything is possible, despite whatever it is that you're going through or whatever phase you're in. And really being open to how, your healing and your business journey gets to unfold for you. Like, it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be perfect. It can be messy as hell. And it can feel like it's not working a lot of the time, but really trusting that momentum, keep showing up for it, keep leaning in, keep asking questions, keep taking action, and, never giving up on the vision. Keep taking the best action you know how towards that vision. And I promise you, it's totally possible and you can get there no matter how messy and imperfect the journey might be for you. And, it's really, I have found, about honoring where I'm at in my unique relationship with money, my unique relationship with marketing, and my unique relationship with consistency in my action, and also the level of alignment with, in my mindset and my strategy, and just acknowledging where I am, in whatever place is triggering me, whatever place there's a strong desire for transformation, and really looking at where I'm at, really honoring that, really being objective around it, and giving myself permission to shift it one step at a time, one day at a time, and permission to do it my way, and permission to do it in the way that feels most accessible for me today, and to trust that that is enough and that it's all contributing to the momentum. So clients that I've worked with have been going through things like, simply healing generational depression that they have inherited, and are working to release the energetic, emotional, physical, and mental patterns that aren't congruent to the level of creative freedom and financial abundance that they know is possible for them and that they desire to create. Or, stepping into a new identity and patterns of successful and feel-good entrepreneurship, while healing the trauma of toxic workplace relationships or toxic workplace patterns from a previous career. Also building their dream businesses while healing from the effects of sexual abuse. Also healing from the emotional abuse from time spent in cults, and from emotional patterns, from, healing from emotional patterns that they have inherited from the different cultures that they've grown up in, and navigating that. And, let's just acknowledge that we have all experienced some level of limitation from the cultures that we grow up in. And we're all working to undo those patterns to create more freedom, because I believe that's just the natural evolution of humanity. We're always evolving according to the environments that we're living in. And, just acknowledging how rapidly our environments and the possibilities change so rapidly. And our bodies are like these ancient, dinosaur things. And on a physical level, it takes years and years and years to evolve on a physical level. But we're evolving, on mental and spiritual and emotional levels, day to day, very, very rapidly. And it's, we're always going to be wanting to shift and release and shed inherited patterns from, even from last year, right? We want new things this year than we did last year, but particularly from our childhood and particularly from, the systems and the structures that we grew up in and the ideas that we inherited from our parents, that inherited from their grandparents, that, lived through wars, or all of these crazy things that are in our DNA from everything that the previous generations and our ancestors have lived through. So we're always shifting, we're always evolving, we're always, looking to let go of patterns that feel restrictive to us or feel like they're preventing us from really fully embodying more expansive levels of freedom. And it's just so amazing that we have access to the tools and the support to be able to do that now in such pleasurable and joyful ways. And I can honestly say that, some of the people that I've worked with, the communities that I've been a part of, the information that I have learned and embodied about who I am as a human being, as an emotional being, as a physical being, as a spiritual being, has just been, the silver lining of all of the problems that I was looking to solve. So, in doing this work, my clients say things like that they can literally feel generational depression being lifted from them, from their being, while, simultaneously creating the best year in sales ever, while doubling their income and, really creating tangible opportunities for more freedom, for more downtime, to nurture their health, to nurture their creativity, to nurture their relationships, and really creating expansion on every single level as a result of the mindset work that entrepreneurship really invites us into as we come up against stories of limitation that we hold about ourselves or about the world based on inherited patterns or, past experiences. So that really is the gift of stepping into doing this work as an entrepreneur. And there's so much healing available. And it's just the most powerful spiritual growth container when you're willing to see it that way and to have that perspective and really lean into the lessons and the growth and acknowledge that support is always available for wherever it is that you're at. So my private mentorship supports women who are ready to be hitting their big income goals, making 5-figure months while honoring their journey of transformation from a very holistic and loving and compassionate place that is focused on being driven by fun, inspiration, and what feels good, and really learning to become masterful at trusting yourself to find the path that works for you from season to season, wherever it is that you're at, knowing that there's always a path to your result available to you now. And knowing that you can and are capable of creating the results that you desire, no matter what life experiences may be present for you. So if that's something that's speaking to you, please reach out to me. Please visit my website at withsarahmac.com to check out my programs and to apply. And please share this episode with anybody who you know would benefit from this content. Please leave me a review on iTunes. And thank you so much for listening and watching. Bye. For more inspirational content, head over to my website withsarahmac.com and please support the show by liking, commenting, and subscribing.